So, I've made border videos. You can look for them. Videos about the border and my experience at the different borders. I've crossed every single border. I've crossed the border from Peru into Ecuador. I've been to Colombia. I crossed the border from Panama into Costa Rica, Costa Rica into Nicaragua, Nicaragua into Honduras, Honduras into El Salvador, El Salvador into Guatemala, and Guatemala into Mexico. And Mexico into the United States. Now, I can tell you this whole thing with Donald Trump and the border crisis that he wants to, foment, just so he can steal funds from the U.S. government, basically, and give the funds to his construction buddies to build a border wall that we don't need. Let me put it into perspective for everybody for a minute. We've got a border that's 2,000 miles long with a country that is like our best buddy. We have a trade agreement with that country, Mexico. And without Mexico, actually, we wouldn't have mangoes, avocados, a lot of things, a lot of natural fruit products. We wouldn't have cheap labor. We wouldn't have cheap computer chips. We wouldn't have cheap cars, cheap everything. Because Mexico has cheap labor and produces products for a fraction of the cost than the United States does. But my point about the border is this. The border serves only one group of people. And I say one group, I used to say two groups. I used to say the government and the mafia. But the government is the mafia. Let's just be straight up about it. And so the border only serves one group of people. The people of the United States is not served by the border. The people of Mexico are not served by the border. It's the government and the mafia, or the government mafia, served by the border. Because if you cross the border, quote unquote, legally, you're going to pay a tariff or a tax or whatever to cross the border to the government. And if you try to cross illegally any product or person or whatever, you're going to pay the mafia a quota to get across. Now, pretty much, the border doesn't serve any good purpose for anybody because why? Well, we've got McDonald's and Coca-Cola and Walmart and Home Depot in the United States, and we've got all of that in Mexico too. We've got 13 million Mexicans in the United States working. We've got 13 million Americans here in Mexico. But let's just take the physicality of the border for a second. Forget about all that other crap for a second. We're really talking about border security. What somebody like the President of the United States needs to do, and I'm not even going to say the next president, because this president's too stupid to do anything with anybody. He's too much of an ignoramus, an egotistical, narcissistic ignoramus to make any agreement with anybody, including the president of Mexico. So here's how it really should be. Nobody should be building a wall at the Mexican-United States border. It should be, if anything, the border should be fortified at the Mexican-Guatemalan border. And Mexico should be considered our best buddy country. And we should allow Mexican workers to come in the United States and work for substandard wages any time of the day, because that's what all these Republicans want, right? Republicans are the ones who are business owners who want cheap, illegal workers anyway. I don't know anybody else is wanting cheap, illegal labor. So the point is, instead of securing a 2,000-mile long border, which is really impossible, why not shoot for making an agreement with Mexico and saying, let's make sure that the border in Guatemala, Mexico, the Guatemalan Mexico border, is secure. And we'll even give you some troops and concrete and steel to go make that border better. It'd be a lot cheaper, a lot more efficient, and a lot better. And it would allow Mexico and the United States to actually combine into an American Union. Kind of like the European Union, except it'd be the American Union. And we'd all have like one kind of European, or we would all have one kind of American identification, and we could all travel freely between the three countries, Canada, United States, and Mexico. Because really there's no problem with Canada, United States, or Mexico if we allow Mexico to come up a little bit in its economy, and we institute a couple of different changes in the Mexican government and society. There's no need for a border then. There's need for a border at the Mexican-Guatemalan border. And reinforcing that border is what needs to happen. And forget about concrete and steel. How about just drones and electronic surveillance? That's so much cheaper and so much better. And with those drones and electronic surveillance, attach like electromagnetic rail guns or laser guns to like keep the people in place once they're found that they're trying to cross illegally, to keep them in place and not let them go anywhere, so that they can be kept captive until a live person can come and find them and apprehend them. I mean, there's just so many different ways. Why give more money to illegal mafia construction people? Jimmy Hoffa's rolling over in his grave. And Jimmy Hoffa would never have voted for Donald Trump. And I'm really hoping soon that Donald Trump goes to his grave. That way we can avoid a whole border crisis and any more problems. Donald Trump, Erdogan, Vladimir Putin, and Prince Mohammed bin Salman must all go the way of the buffalo. And maybe even their whole families too, because shoot, once evil starts propagating more evil, what do? It's probably best to just nip that evil in the bud right from the root. Get rid of it all. Mark my words. I'm fucking serious. I'm tired of hearing this guy talk, and I'm tired of hearing him spew out his fucking lies about the border. He's never crossed a border in his life like I have. So he knows jack fucking shit about the border. That's my take on the border for today.